Here they are. So
Oh,
I have already introduced you. Welcome from
oh, thank
California.
you.
Welcome to
Thank you.
Texas. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay. So sorry to everyone. We had some difficulty connecting. Anyway, here we are. So, yeah, we'll just launch into today's topic because you all have gotten the reading and know what we're talking about. So it's basically what we're talking about today is that there are many ways to approach truth. There are many ways to approach God. And in fact, every one of us, every individual will have their own way that brings them to God. So there was a story one time Swami Kriyananda gave a Kriya initiation. And this was, 45 years ago. And afterwards, a small group of us met with him, and he said, "I had a unique experience today, this evening." He said, "When I blessed each one of you, I could feel your individual, unique path to God, and it was different for each and every one of you." And so all of us have our own unique pathway that will bring us to truth. So there are a number of implications to this. One is that never judge someone else's path, never denigrate someone else's path. Uh, it may very well not fit for you, but it may be completely valid for that person. Now, having said that, there we can't then simply go to the thought that, well, therefore everything is equal. The different searches for God are equal. Yes, the different searches for truth may be equal, although there may be some that are more efficient. If you're trying to get from Dallas to the Holy Land, let's say, there are many, many ways to get there. You could walk, you could row across the Atlantic Ocean, you could crawl on your knees. I mean, we have been places where we've seen pilgrims who have crawled on their knees for more than 100 miles, 300 miles to get to a holy place. Now, that may be a person's path. Personally, if I'm trying to get to the Holy Land, I think I would prefer to get there and I would get on a jet airplane path that would allow me to get to the Holy Land as fast as I could. Now, the Holy Land is a substitute for me for union with God. So I feel that our path, especially that of Kriya Yoga, which is what Master said is the jet airplane path, for me is the right path. And I think that it's more efficient, but efficiency is not the only thing going on. So other people may have different karmic pathways, and so why judge? The best thing is simply to essentially try to tread whatever your path is as honestly, as deeply, as sincerely as you possibly can, and then be supportive to other people in their particular pathway to God. And in doing that, we open up our hearts, we open up our consciousness. After all, even though we talk about a destination, we talk about even a destination like union with God, we talk about that as if there is a journey from here to there. In fact, there is no journey. We are already at our destination. We're already merged in God. In fact, nothing exists except God. We don't have a reality except as an extension of God. So there isn't an actual journey. The journey is simply to remove the veils of ignorance that make us think that we aren't already there. And so are all of the ways of removing the veils of ignorance equal? I don't think so. I think some are better than others. On the other hand, to judge someone else's way of removing the veils simply, I don't know, engrosses me, entrances me more in delusion. So let everyone have their own pathway. I'll have my pathway. I'll share mine with those who are interested in knowing what mine is. But beyond that, we all, the eternal qualities we should be expressing. We should be expressing love for others in everything we do. We should be trying to express the aspects of God, love and joy and peace and calmness and wisdom. All of those are universal qualities, and each one of those will be expressed in an individual way according to how God, how Divine Mother is manifesting in that particular person. So our job is to get in tune with God, in tune with those qualities, express those qualities in our way, and not judge others for the way that they're doing that, but allow them to tread in their own way. And if you see people that are not only not moving toward the Holy Land very fast, but are moving away from it, in this case, it would be people who deny the existence of God, deny the existence of joy or peace, or, what good does it do to try to condemn them? It only shrinks your own heart. If they are seeking any help, give them help. If they're seeking comfort, give them comfort. But our job is, as devotees of this great path, is to attune ourselves to the universal acceptance and love and joy that Master and Swami, portrayed, modeled for us so beautifully. And if we do that sincerely, we do it with energy and with, persistence over a long period of time, eventually it will erode those veils of ignorance that keep us from seeing who we really are.
Well, first of all, welcome to our home. It's one of the benefits of not being able to be together in real time is we get to come into everybody's homes. And it's nice to see you in your different settings as well. We hope you're all doing well in this difficult time. So once someone gave us this very nice little bookmark, which it had on the top of it the golden rule from the Bible, from Christ, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But then it had it listed in, maybe a dozen, the same concept from a dozen different religions, Judaism, Islam, Taoism, Hinduism, Sikhism, and they all had that same principle as a very core teaching in their religion. And then there are extremists in every religion that take the teachings of that path and distort them and distort what the essence of that religion was. But nevertheless, the core of it has to be similar, because truth is truth. There aren't two truths in the universe. In India, they have this concept is called Sanatan Dharma, the eternal, one can say the eternal religion, but Dharma is not really religion, it's more righteousness, so eternal righteousness. And in Swami's wonderful book, Essence of the Bhagavad Gita, he said something so profound that he said, if this planet was totally obliterated, Sanatan Dharma would still exist on the farthest planet, of the farthest reaches of the galaxy, of out towards infinity, because it's the matrix of all that is. It isn't just like, okay, well, here's someone gave us this book called the Bible, and we'll read it and we'll stop, this is what we'll do. But really what eternal Dharma is, what Sanatan Dharma is, it's the ability to, it's the profound principle that that exists throughout the universe. And we find this everywhere. And if people distort it, as I say, so be it, but it still exists. And it exists because it exists within each one of us. And if all religions, if every scripture in some great act of fate were all destroyed, they would still be rediscovered, because those truths exist within the heart of every human being, with the heart of every atom of creation. And so it's a very reassuring truth that we don't have to fight. We don't have to say, how are we different? But know on a very profound level, we are the same. I read a beautiful story which illustrates this, a little short story some time ago, but the concept stayed with me. It was a story by the British author E.M. Forster. And in the story, two good men, one a Christian and one a Muslim, who have led good lives, they both die at the same time. And their souls leave the body, and their souls start moving up to heaven. And as they do this, they notice this other soul kind of accompanying them on their journey, but they keep to themselves. And then the journey is a little longer than they thought. So at a certain point, they say, hello, and what was your life like? And they realize that each of them are very good men and have lived righteous lives. And then they talk a little bit further. Well, what religion were you? Well, I was a Christian. And the other man said, well, I was a Muslim. And they are a little disturbed by that, because they thought, oh, well, this is someone very different from me. And yet I've already formed this affinity. And the closer they looked ahead, and there was this beautiful light that they were moving towards. And the closer they moved to that light, the more they felt connected, the more they felt their similarities. And then they began feeling a little bit sad for the other person, like each one in their own minds thought, oh, well, too bad he's a Christian, because his beliefs won't allow him to enter heaven. And the Christian thought, too bad he's a Muslim, he can't enter the kingdom of heaven. But as they got closer and closer to that light, they just felt this overwhelming love for the other person. And then as they approached the gates of heaven that would help let them go into that light, the spontaneous prayer that arose in each one of their hearts was, if only one of us can enter the kingdom of heaven, let it be him, not me. And they both thought that. And at that instance, the doors opened and the light welcomed them both in. Well, that's the point of it all, isn't it, really? That if we can love our neighbors as ourselves and do unto others as we would have them do unto us, the details of the religion simply don't matter. So that's really the essence. And it's so relevant in today's world, where everyone's just trying to find, how are you different from me? You believe this and I believe that. But I want to reassure everybody who's listening and anybody who watches this, everything that's happening now, all the divisiveness and the violence and the protests and the counter protests and all of that, it's the death of Kali Yuga and the birth of Dwapara Yuga understanding, which is much more unitive. So ultimately it will be for a good thing, just like a little chicken or bird hatching out of an egg. It's not an easy process. It takes every ounce of strength and determination that little bird in the egg has to break out. And that's what's happening. The consciousness of humanity is breaking out of it's the shell of enclosed political, social, religious, moral beliefs, and trying to emerge into a freer consciousness that embraces other realities. So we want to invite you now to see if you have any questions that you'd like to ask us, and we're happy to answer them.
So as you all know, you can either unmute yourself and ask your question, or you're welcome to put it in the chat box. And I'm watching, and Mark is watching. And if you do that, we will then relay the question to Jyotish and Devi, or a comment, or anything appropriate here. So please do engage if you feel to. And open cameras if you feel to.
You know, you get a lot of chance to do Zoom meetings and see a lot of interesting things. And it's been really sweet for Shakti and I here, and turn off my phone here. The one thing that was mentioned was that it's like the overall sense of truth, the overall vibration of truth worldwide naturally brings up all the lies. It's kind of like the more light brings light to those things that are being exhumed, so to speak. And so it's almost, you know, they say the light getting lighter, the dark getting darker. And I just was wondering what your sense of that was.
Yeah, you know, Swami and Master, they all taught that there would be, during this changeover from Kali Yuga to Dwapara Yuga, there would be a lot of turmoil, because during this age especially, there are those born with either Kali Yuga predominant consciousness or Dwapara Yuga predominant consciousness, or a mixture. And so there's still a clash. Farther on into Dwapara Yuga, the souls born will be much more of Dwapara Yuga consciousness. Now, having said that, Dwapara Yuga is not a terribly high age. It is the age of the merchant, or the age of self-interest. And so we're seeing, even in the search for truth, a lot of expression of self-interest involved in it. It's at a higher age in Treta Yuga where that mass consciousness becomes, as Devi said, if only one of us can get into heaven, let it be him. That consciousness is actually a Treta Yuga consciousness. Kali Yuga consciousness, or Dwapara Yuga consciousness, is if only one can get in, certainly let me get in. And so it's, you know, even what we're seeing now is not moving to the very highest consciousness, but it is moving out of the lowest consciousness, which is, if only one of us can get into heaven, I'm going to kill him so that I'm the only one remaining. And then it's got to be me. That's Kali Yuga. Dwapara Yuga is let it be me. Treta Yuga is let it be him. And Satya Yuga is, well, we're all in heaven already. What are we talking about here? So anyway, all of this conflict that's going on, the turmoil that we're going through, the masters already said that we would be doing this. And for us, honestly, it is, you know, as the Tale of Two Cities starts, was the best of times, it was the worst of times. For many, it is the worst of times. For us, spiritually, it's the best of times, because, as you say, lies are getting exposed, and we are reaffirming, I don't want to dwell in the world of lies. I want to go into the truth. So it propels us on our journey.
You know, I was thinking it also, when you're doing Kriya, or when you're doing any meditation technique that brings up, you could say it brings up lies, or it brings up darkness into the light. And it's just like now, it's the world, those kind of things are being brought up to the light to be, I don't want to say dissolved, to feel that grace of God, to feel whatever transformation they can transform, but it's very much the same inward as it is outward.
You know, also just looking at all of your pictures, and there's about 5 of you on our screen. It's so wonderful to see you all. You know, we haven't, I'm sorry to say this, but we haven't been to Dallas for a lot of years, but there you all are. And many of you we met, you know, 20, 25 years ago, and you're still on the path, you're still dedicated, you're still weathering the storm, whether you have a brick and mortar center or not, you know, and it's really wonderful. And you all should really realize that it's the grace of God that keeps any of us on the path. How could any of us do it on our own? The pulls of the world are just too strong. But it's the grace of God that keeps us on the path. And really try to realize that that's in your life, and that's what's kept you on the path all these years. And you know, yes, it is a battle of light and darkness. You know, right now, Jyotish and I are rereading the great epic, the Mahabharata, from which the Gita came. And, you know, the Gita is this profound, probably the greatest, well, I shouldn't say that, that goes against everything we've been saying, but one of the greatest spiritual discourses ever given in recorded history. And yet when you read the Mahabharata, oh my God, it's just, I mean, I'm right at the part where it's the battle and how bloody and brutal and horrible it is. And yet that follows right after, in the storyline, right after the Gita is given. And so holding that light is not it's a battle. It's not an easy process. And there will be casualties, meaning people will be drawn into the darkness that don't really need to. But, you know, we really have to, what's our part then? Our part is to try, we've been given a gift of this path and this guru and the techniques of Kriya. And our part is to just really sincerely hold on to them and do them to the best of our ability, knowing that there's a battle going on and we're warriors on the side of the light, whether you're a Christian or a Jew or a Buddhist, whatever. If you love God and you're trying to practice his teachings, then you're on the side of light. And so, you know, that we haven't been given this grace just for ourselves. We've been given it to help mankind at this time by keeping our consciousness in the light.
Yes, we've been given this grace. Thank you. And I also just wanted to welcome you to, it's Mike Wolverton, to participate with us this morning. I know we've had a prior occasion and so happy to see you both. And Jyotish, I was thinking about how life is simpler when we don't really have on our list that we need to fight other people that believe differently, that we can love them. And it just makes life simpler because, you know, while we know our truth, you can stand up for our truth and share it, serving as we can. It's just something we don't have to get involved in. And it just reminds me of a Western movie. There's this theme in Western movies where you've got the cattlemen bringing the herds up, and then you've got the farmers. And then I told my wife, Emily, I said, well, if everyone was a vegetarian, they wouldn't even have this problem.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know,
So
I
there's
see
a lot of problems we don't need to create for ourselves.
Isn't that the
Exactly.
truth?
I see in the background you have in your room, wherever you have Jyotish's painting. We have it on our wall, right? You can't see it, but it's right off camera.
I'm
And
so grateful for the paintings. Oh my gosh, thank you.
yeah, that was it's called Cater Nut. And Well, you can talk about.
Yeah, the little temple there. It's actually the temple at Kedarnath, which is reputed to have been built originally. This is, a later addition. This particular temple is only a couple of thousand years old that exists there now. But the original one was built by the Pandava brothers as they were headed up into the higher Himalayas. This is at 12,000 or 13,000 feet, but they were going up even higher. And they built a temple to Shiva because he demanded that they do that in order to expiate the sins that they had, the bad karma that they had accrued during the war. And so they built this Shiva temple there.
We were there.
Yeah. And so, this is kind of a symbolic depiction of Master revisiting that temple that he built
Wow.
the time that he was Arjuna.
We had, it's a very, very beautiful spot. As Jyotish said, 12, 13,000 feet in the Himalayas. The air is very clear and beautiful and very, very spiritually powerful. But we had also a funny experience there, humorous, I should say, that we had a guide who was showing us around, and there's great respect for older people in India, by and large. And so the guide was, holding onto my arm every step I took, like I was going to fall down. And it was getting to be, I don't really need this. And so finally I said to the guide, I really can walk on my own. I'm not that old. And the guide said, "Oh no, ma'am, you are not old at all. But these steps, they are very old." And
so we figured he was destined for the diplomatic corps.
We were glad we could share that painting and that temple with all of you through the painting.
Yes, it's beautiful. And the thing is that in the paintings, what I've noticed from yourself, Jyotish, is that there's the subject matter and the inspiration and the intuition around what is going to be painted. And then there's the beautiful painting. So there's two things that I appreciate in your paintings.
Very perceptive, Mike.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, an artist needs to pick and choose and focus on what's important. I'm just now working on a big painting of Master at the Grand Canyon. And, the Grand Canyon could be presented extraordinarily complex, or it can be simplified. And so as a painter, I have to choose what is best going to portray what I want to portray there, which is basically Master looking out at the vastness and the beauty of the Grand Canyon, which he visited.
I noticed on the chat box, Pam and Sam, you may have left already. They said we have to leave soon for the final Sunday service at Scotts Valley. They're closing that physical center, as it's just the reality right now. Anyway, we wish you all the best, Pam and Sam, if you're still with us.
Thank you. Yes, we're just
good.
leaving. We're just leaving. Thank you so much.
Good. And good luck with the next iteration, the reincarnation of Master's work there.
We're following Dallas. They're wonderful examples. So we're sister sanghas, and they're helping us out tremendously.
Wonderful.
Oh, very good.
Wonderful.
It's always a loss to those of us who were used to going regularly, especially, or even helping manifest a center. That ability to serve and so on is a loss. But like the battle of the Mahabharata with the inner tendencies, none of them are killed. They're just transmuted into a higher form. And so the loss of the center, physical center, is just going to be transmuted into a form that can, in its incorporeal body, can reach many more people.
And when you go to your concluding Sunday service, please give everyone our love and our support. And I have a feeling that this closing of the Scotts Valley, it was almost like that was a chapter that was coming to an end. But I think this Ananda Monterey Bay, I think that might be something that has a potential that you can't even imagine yet. So I feel very positive about it. And you two have been with Ananda for a lot of years, and you're wonderful representatives. So you have our support and our blessings, and give everyone there our love.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
that means
much.
a lot.
We stopped using the word close.
Good.
Good.
We are moving.
We're moving.
We're
Good.
moving on.
Good.
So I actually made an error, said we were closing the physical center, but in reality, we're moving our physical center.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. No,
Thank you.
Swami was, if we learn nothing else from him, he was so fluid. You know, he was always maybe it was because he was an editor, but he saw the physical world that way too. He was always editing and changing and shifting and moving around. And you just got a sense of, you know, don't be concerned. It's just it's improving, you know.
To make a bad pun from the Hans Christian Andersen tale, Ananda Scotts Valley has no clothes.
Oh, groan. We're going to quote you this morning.
Sometimes it's better not to.
Thank you both so very, very much.
Okay.
We'll hope to see you soon
You're
somehow,
welcome.
somewhere.
Yeah, somehow, some way.
Right.
So any other questions? And I know you've all been there a long time already. We don't want to pull this on too long.
Well, please feel free. We are so happy. Sometimes we stay here, and not that we're saying you should, but for an hour after service because we laugh and the satsang and the vibration. And I was thinking when you're talking about the painting, Jyotish, because I have one and our center had some hanging, and I know at least one person is online who bought one of your beautiful paintings that we had for sale, and the vibration behind it is what captures me. Every time I look at it now, I don't think about it, but I feel and sense that vibration. And I think that's also what Sam and Pam and us here at in Ananda in Texas, you know, the moving on from the physical structure, it's the vibration. And when we really know who's in charge behind it all, the vibration, meaning I just did this with my thumb, meaning here, that the vibration then, because we're willing, it just continues. And how can it not continue to lift? Because the one in charge, or the Divine Mother, you know, call it whatever you want, of that source, it just takes us when we're willing. And so I keep hearing vibration about everything you've said, and Scotts Valley, and Sam and Pam are online with us every week, at least once, for a kirtan that we do. Sometimes they're on more, and it's just been a beautiful expansion of moving on from a structure to online. And yet we really hope to be in each other's good company before too long, because
Don't we all? Don't we all? Yeah. So, okay, well.
Yeah, anyone else comment, questions?
And I'm going to say last chance, let's open cameras if you don't mind being on Facebook, because we are recording and it's live on Facebook, but so we can have any questions and the famous waves that we always do. But a moment for any questions, comments from anyone?
Well, I had just maybe not so much a question, but a thought. You know, as so many of us are going without clothes these days, it is kind of like, you know, like a one of those dreams where you find yourself undressed out in public, and you know, it's just, but you know, it's an interesting time because we're all trying to get out of that sense of duality, that this time was good and this time is not so good and this time will maybe be better, and you know, and how, you know, I guess the question is how do we work with that energy to realize in ourselves that what we're experiencing now is the best thing for us at this time?
That's a great question.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I'll just tell you how I work with it, which is intermittently I do better with it, and at other times worse. You know, you get, in essence, what is going on always is basically a virtual reality. It isn't the real reality. It's a virtual reality. And at times our souls realize, they come more to the surface and realize, oh, it's all just a kind of a game. And I'm not trying to perfect the game. I'm trying to get over my addiction to playing the game so I can get out and be back to my real self again. But at other times, we get so engrossed in the drama of the game itself that we not only forget that our real goal is to get out, but we don't even want to remember that our goal is to get out because we're so engrossed in the game. So for myself, I kind of come in more to focus, where I realize what I'm really after is trying to get out. And, you know, I work on that. And at other times I get more caught up in you know, the drama of Maya. And so, and you know, all of our techniques, meditation, practicing the presence of God, trying to live according to the principles, the higher principles within, all of those, we've been given a path that awakens in us not only the realization that this is not the ultimate reality, but the desire to transcend it. And so, I don't know, that it's almost like just keep doing the best you can, and it'll eventually have its ability to help you transcend.
Yeah, I'll share a funny little experience I had yesterday. By the way, I see Hugh is on the screen. Hi, Hugh. Nice to see you. Okay, bear with me. I am as Winnie the Pooh said, I am a bear of very little brain. But last night for dinner, I looked in the freezer and I saw there was some soup that I had made some months ago. And I realized, maybe we should use that. And then I looked at the date and I realized I had made it in February. And it was before all this started. And I served it, defrosted it, heated it, served it for dinner. And I said, Jyotish, this is soup made before the apocalypse. And then I just thought about it and I thought, well, what's different now? And honestly, I mean this sincerely, and I'm not trying to, I don't know, convince you of anything, but I thought I've grown a lot in these months. It's been hard. It's been challenging. It's been frightening. It's been some nights where I didn't sleep very well. But I realized I'm a stronger person now than I was 6 months ago. And really that sense of, I don't know, pre-apocalypse, you know, you kind of thought everything was good and easy and predictable. And now, and there was a sense of security in that. But then I realized, you know, I haven't lost that sense of security on a deep level. It's still there. The world has changed, but I just feel like whatever comes, I can deal with it. And so just try to realize, you know, where does your security lie? You know, when you all know the story, most of you know, in 1976, Ananda was hit by a forest fire. Maybe that karma was over for us, who knows? But in any case, we lost everything we had, everything, with no backup insurance or anything. and we had a little new baby that was 11 days old. And then I thought about it and I thought, oh, you know, our house is gone and all the things we'd gotten for the baby, it's all gone. And then I thought, you know, where does a child's sense of security come from? It doesn't come from anything outward. It comes from the love and the protective aura from the parents. And I thought, well, nothing can take that away. And then I just relaxed with it. I don't love this new child any less because I don't have a beautiful little quilt to put over him or whatever. And so just, and I just, that's been a good lesson for me from that experience, that where does our security come from? It isn't anything outward. It's what we carry in our heart, and that we have to just really affirm as much as we can. And it's not easy. It wasn't easy to go through the fire. I mean, that was not fun. It's not easy to go through this, but nevertheless, there's a gift in it at the same time.
Well, thank you, Jyotish and Devi. I just want to say something too, that the lifeline of our spiritual family has been invaluable during this time. All this, you know, it's sort of ironic because, you know, we're all virtual and all that, but, you know, yesterday I was tuning into a CC and then in the morning, India, and I feel so expansive in this virtual world and also really connected, you know, and so if I need inspiration at any time of the day or night, you know, live, you know, and to me it's also really honing that sense of we are energy, because it's sort of amazing just the magnetism of you being with us today is, you know, I feel it in my heart. I feel God flowing through you, and I'm just so grateful for this spiritual family and for, you know, Master and Swami, and that's been the lifeline that helps keep me connected to that ultimate security. So thank you so much.
It's mutual. You know, it means a lot for us to reconnect with all of you who we've known for many years. You've been devoted and dedicated. And that's rewarding for us to see you're carrying it on.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at some of the faces that are here, you guys, we wouldn't be seeing you if it weren't for this. Eric, we haven't seen you for a long time. And Hugh, it's been some years since we've seen you. And
last year at the Living Disciple.
Yeah, last year, but
yes,
anyway,
Living Disciple.
Yeah, but you know, it's there's a gift, in fact, in everything that happens. If we look deeply enough, there's a gift in it, and we can either get focused on, oh my God, it's so terrible, or we can be looking for the gift. Swami said, probably you've all heard this, that it's a blessing to have your faults or your problems brought to the surface, because they've been there anyway, and now they're up at the surface where you can deal with them. And so all of the turmoil that this country is going through with, you know, dealing with racism, either one side or the other, you know, and the politics and the questions of truth and lies and everything is just bringing stuff to the surface where ultimately we can deal with it. Now that'll go on more as an individual, on an individual level than just as a national level, because the mass karma moves more slowly than the individual.
You know, last night, and we should be winding down a little bit, but it was so beautiful because from last night from 8:30 to 9:30 at night, our time, we have these two little studios in the back of the Sangha office. For those of you who know it, it's a big warehouse and there's boxes everywhere and shipping and just not a very sattvic environment, I'm sorry to say, as much as we try. It's just a warehouse. but there's two little studios back there where we do broadcasting from. And Jyotish and I were in one doing a live streaming Zoom with the next wave. Really people, young people from all over the world, all Europe, America, India. And then Jaya was in, Nayaswami Jaya was in a room just across the boxes from us, another little sound studio. And he was doing at the same time an online Zoom call with India, a satsang. And then we both exited at the same time. We said, oh, we were just doing, and he was in this little dark warehouse and we were just reaching people all over the world. And it was really delightful, just to realize, and in a way it was a metaphor too. We all feel trapped in in our home or wherever, but our thoughts and our energy can go out and touch people. So do you have
actually, I wanted to say one last thing. Shakti and I met at, my wife met at a seminar y'all gave in 1994 at the United States.
We remember.
It was so sweet that we got to meet in that kind of vibration. And
please give her our love.
I will. And I appreciate your message about it's not just us realizing God, but it's the collective. We're working for that, and that's a nice perspective that you've given. That the more we embrace that, that's what the pandemic in some ways has brought about. That we're all in it together, and it's there's something valuable in that.
Very much. Okay, dear friends. Well, we're so glad you invited us to join you, and we'll do it again when the time is free. And just God bless you all, and keep up your satsang with each other in Dallas. It's our great, it says in the Indian teachings, next to having a true guru who we have in Master, the second greatest blessing is satsang. And so keep your satsang strong.
Well, there's a question. Could you please share about the ashram center in India and what's happening there? India is booming, absolutely booming. Some of the physical centers have indeed closed and closed permanently. Others are not operating at this point, but they're still hanging on to them. But the virtual world in India, we're reaching 2, 3, 4 times as many people there as we were a year before.
Yeah, the work is extremely strong. And another beautiful thing they're doing is we had been teaching almost exclusively in English. And now English is really a second language in India. There are hundreds of regional languages. Now we're starting to teach in 3 or 4 regional languages: Bengali, Hindi, Marathi, Tamil. And the response in the regional languages is greater than the English. I mean, we had our first, and I think it might be the first in this yuga, we had an online Kriya initiation in Marathi, which is a regional language in the South, 47 people. So it's really, really amazing what's going on in India. Okay, so we will let you go, and God bless you all, and Master bless you and guide us all and guide us into the light.
Thank you, Jyotish and Devi, for coming to be with us.
You're welcome.
We pray for you guys all every day, all worldwide. Let's keep praying for each other.
Yes, yeah. And this won't be our last meeting together, so.
We'll hold you to that.
Okay.
Many blessings.
Thank you.